Every year, millions of people book flights without realizing they're choosing the wrong days and paying way more than they should. Did you know that booking your flight on certain days can make the price jump by as much as 30%? Or that airlines can secretly hike fares just because they know you're likely to buy at a specific time? That's right, you're not always getting the best deal. In this video, we're revealing the shocking truth behind flight pricing in 2025. You'll learn which days are secretly the worst for booking flights, why your favorite flight search engines might be lying to you, and how airlines use tricky tactics to get you to pay more. Stick around to discover how to outsmart the system and save big on your next trip. Chapter 1. The secret days when airlines jack up prices. Did you know that airlines have secret, peak pricing days? These aren't just the obvious holidays, but days that seem like any other. For example, Tuesday and Wednesday often appear to be less busy, but many travelers don't realize that airlines use sophisticated algorithms to adjust prices based on demand. According to a study by CheapAir, airline prices can be 10–30% higher on certain dates, and the biggest jump happens right before peak travel periods. This is what airlines call price discrimination. They know when demand is high and can raise prices without you even noticing. The trick is to avoid the golden window, the first few days of a long weekend or holiday break. For instance, the day before Thanksgiving or Christmas Eve are notorious for price hikes. Airlines know many people wait until the last minute to book flights, and they take full advantage of it. One thing most people don't realize is that airlines tend to raise prices when business travelers are buying. Business travelers are less price sensitive, so their flights are often more expensive. So, those midweek business days, particularly Tuesdays, often have inflated fares. It might seem like a great idea to book then because less people are flying, but the airline knows that people in business need to travel on those days, making those flights pricier than expected. Chapter 2. The airline black hole days. To avoid booking for low cost, there's a mysterious phenomenon I like to call the airline black hole. It's those days that fall between peak seasons where the flight prices fluctuate wildly. A typical example of this is in early January or mid-February, after the New Year rush but before the spring break boom. During these times, airlines often set prices in a strange way that's not linked to demand. These pricing days seem random but, in fact, are the result of complex data models predicting low demand. A report from Skyscanner revealed that many travelers book their flights without realizing they're buying tickets on these unpredictable, black hole days. For example, if you look at flights in early January, some prices are deceptively low. But then, without warning, they skyrocket to ridiculously high prices a few days later. If you book during these windows, you might catch yourself in the crossfire of the algorithm's unpredictability. Here's an insider tip. Plan your trip early. Booking during the black hole period can save you money, but only if you're ahead of the curve. Set fare alerts or check prices regularly. One study found that flights booked 60 days ahead of time were 30% cheaper than those booked last minute. So, knowing when these black hole days hit can be a game changer. Chapter 3. The hidden holiday trap. How to escape the price surge. Everyone knows that booking flights during major holidays like Christmas or Easter is a bad idea. But there's a sneaky trap in the holiday season that many people fall for, those hidden days right before and after the holiday rush. For instance, many travelers mistakenly book flights for the day before Thanksgiving or Christmas, thinking they'll save money. This is a common mistake. Airlines inflate prices for these days because they know there's high demand, and people will pay extra to get where they need to go. Interestingly, studies have shown that flights just after a holiday are often cheaper than flights during the holiday itself. A Google study found that booking your flight for the Tuesday or Wednesday following a major holiday often results in 20–25% savings compared to the days immediately before. Here's a quirky fact. Did you know that the cost of a flight can also depend on the day of the week you choose? Mondays and Fridays, traditionally the busiest days for travel, are usually more expensive. This is because airlines cater to business travelers, who typically fly on those days. But if you book your flight for a Saturday after a holiday, you'll likely catch a better deal. Another little-known trick? Booking flights at the right time of day. Believe it or not, flights that depart at less desirable hours, like very early mornings or late nights, often cost less. So, booking during the odd hours around holidays can sometimes save you big money. This is especially true when there's a major holiday that creates chaos at the airports, like New Year's or Labor Day. To make sure you're avoiding those holiday traps, it's essential to keep an eye on airline trends. Use apps like Hopper or Kayak, which predict the best days to buy flights based on past trends. You can even turn on price alerts to stay ahead of any sudden jumps in fares. If you're enjoying these tips, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. You won't want to miss the next chapter where we expose even more hidden tricks that could save you big on your next trip. Chapter 4. Leaked Data. The airline's secret formula to boost fares. What if I told you airlines use secret formulas to boost fares? It's true. These formulas are not just based on supply and demand, but on patterns and algorithms airlines use to predict when people are most likely to buy. The most surprising thing? They have access to years of data about how, when, and where people book flights. In fact, every click you make on a flight search engine gives the airline clues about how to price their tickets. This process is known as dynamic pricing. It's a strategy airlines use to adjust ticket prices in real time based on factors like time of day, search history, and even your location. A 2024 report by the International Air Transport Association, IATA, revealed that 82% of airlines use dynamic pricing to maximize their revenue. So, if you search for flights multiple times, you might notice prices going up, because the system learns you're interested. To avoid getting caught in these price traps, consider clearing your cookies or using incognito mode when booking flights. By doing so, you make it harder for the system to track your searches and raise prices accordingly. And here's another hack. Buying a flight on a weekend often leads to higher prices. This is because airlines assume that you're booking for leisure, meaning you're less price sensitive and willing to pay more. But buying on a weekday, especially on Tuesday or Wednesday, can save you as much as 20%. Before we dive into the last chapters, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. We've got more tricks coming your way that could change how you book flights forever. Chapter 5. Midweek Mayhem. The days you don't want to fly. It's a common myth that midweek flights are always cheaper. While it's true that airlines sometimes offer lower fares for Tuesday and Wednesday departures, these days can also be deceptively expensive. Why? Because airlines know business travelers often book last-minute flights, especially for short trips. So, the price on these midweek days can actually be higher than expected, depending on the route and time of year. According to data from Airlines Reporting Corporation, ARC, about 60% of business travelers book midweek flights. Airlines know this, and their pricing reflects it. On top of that, airlines sometimes schedule flights with fewer available seats, increasing demand and prices for those midweek slots. It's like a sneaky game where they charge a premium for those who don't plan ahead. So, what's the solution? If you can, avoid booking flights for Tuesdays and Wednesdays, especially during business-heavy seasons. You're better off looking for early morning or late-night flights, as these are typically less popular and less expensive. You might also try booking flights that depart on Saturdays. A report from Expedia showed that flying on Saturdays could save you up to 15% compared to other days of the week. It's all about knowing when to strike. The trick is flexibility. If you can shift your travel dates slightly, you'll have more chances to catch those hidden deals. Chapter 6. Weekend Rip-Offs. The surprising cost of Saturday and Sunday flights. Weekend flights are often more expensive than many people realize. This might seem counterintuitive. After all, weekends are when most people travel. But here's the thing. Weekends are prime time for airlines to raise their prices. This is particularly true for popular routes. According to travel analytics firm Hopper, flying on a Saturday or Sunday can cost you 15–25% more than flying during the week. It all boils down to one factor: demand. Many travelers book weekend flights without thinking twice. This results in a predictable spike in prices. Additionally, the Friday evening to Sunday afternoon window sees the most travelers, and airlines capitalize on this. But here's the twist: the weekend pricing boom usually doesn't apply to all routes. If you're flying on less popular routes, weekends may still offer reasonable prices. So, if you want to avoid paying extra for a weekend flight, here's a strategy. plan your trip around the weekend. Depart a day earlier or return a day later. By doing so, you can avoid those weekend surges and often find much cheaper options. Another important factor to keep in mind is the type of ticket you buy. Full fare tickets for weekends tend to be the priciest. Opting for basic economy or budget airlines can also make a difference in keeping costs down. You might be surprised to learn that early Monday morning flights can also be a great deal. These flights tend to be cheaper because few travelers want to start their week with a long-haul flight. As a bonus, you avoid the dreaded Sunday evening rush. By now, you should have a much better understanding of when to avoid booking flights in 2025. With these strategies, you'll be in the driver's seat when it comes to saving money on your next trip. Remember, flexibility is key. Whether it's the days of the week, the time of day, or even your flight route, small changes can make a big difference. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more travel tips, and happy flying!